and family and people that I haven't actually met yet, but I still love you anyway. My name is Dee. Welcome to Catalyst Energies, and this is a series called A Starseed's Viral Journey, and it is my attempt it is me documenting this process for myself personally as an identified starseed and energy healer and intuitive professionally, and being in and having been in the healing arts for a very long time. So from this perspective, but specifically as a person who identifies as a starseed slash light worker slash walk-in slash indigo, all of those things, if they're, if they're something that's not familiar to you, but you're kind of curious about, that's something that you can do a lot of research about on the internet and get a basic idea of what those terms mean. But this series is to document my progress with potentially contracting COVID-19 as a starseed and as a professional energy healer and astrologer and intuitive reader, going through this process. Because what I've seen, and I believe that I've gone over this in the intro video, so if this is your first time here seeing this, I would recommend that you at least go back and watch the intro so you get some more information about why I feel compelled to do this, but mostly to offer what I can as I go through this process. And I've seen a lot of information about how to best look at this process, and in terms of a spiritual perspective and a global shift in consciousness. These are all things that we've been preparing for if you identify as a light worker or a starseed or a healer in any way energetically, or if you've just had the inkling that something is coming that's going to shift our whole perspective on how we live our lives. You've been feeling this coming for a while, and so I've seen a lot of information about that and how it's time now and things you can do to, I've even posted material about how to practice energetic hygiene and self-care in order to manage ourselves through this time that's going to be significant, and I've talked about that in new moon video that I just posted, and I will link that at the end of this episode, number 2 of the Starseed's Viral Journey, because that's much more of the astrological connection to what's happening and archetypal aspects that we can connect to and work with. This is a much more candid and personal and raw documentation of my experience with this, especially now that I've become what I feel to be symptomatic. So every day or every episode at least is not really going to be planned. It'll just be kind of what's going on for me. And hopefully the intent is to help people feel less alone, especially if you're a healer. I think that one thing I've noticed is that I get the sense that people feel like they might not get sick. And they might not. I mean, not everybody's going to get sick, but that if you are, and there are people that I know who are light workers and Reiki practitioners and energy healers who have gotten sick and are still dealing with those symptoms even weeks later. But what I want to offer is sharing my journey of it to give people a connection in some way, and also to put more information in the data pool, because this is so unprecedented in so many ways. So episode 2, I woke up this morning. I just cried all morning. I just cried. I got out of bed, and as soon as I sat down at my desk to start journaling, I just started crying and crying and crying and crying and crying and crying. Now, there's definitely an astrological aspect with the new moon sitting right on top of Chiron today. And if you are a starseed and light worker and you are not hip to astrology, I would really recommend that you start following someone that you like and that resonates. There's 1.5 billion astrologers out there, and everybody's got a different way of interpreting this archetypal energy. So, but with the new moon on top of Chiron, the wounded healer, I mean, I'm not surprised that like there is this ripple effect of like sadness, profound sadness and grief that's going through right now, especially as the reality of a lockdown and longer than maybe a few weeks that people were expecting, that this is significant. And even if you're aware and prepared energetically and spiritually and all that, and you see like the bigger, much bigger picture, the 5D picture of all of this, it's still, you still have to live in your human body because you're here as a human. Even if you are a starseed or walk in like I am at this point, you're still human, you're still 3D human, and we still have to live with what this situation is in real time and focus on what's in front of us. And that might be getting sick and having symptoms to deal with. And there's a lot of conflicting information out there. And so I just want to provide a raw, honest perspective and details of my experience. I'm not going to tell you what to do, what you shouldn't do. I'm really just going to tell you what I'm doing, what I'm feeling, what I'm experiencing, and what I think that has to do with anything. So today I woke up crying and crying and crying and crying. I wanted to go home. My family of origin is 3,000 miles away. I'm feeling very isolated where I'm at. I reached out to a number of people who I'm very close to, and like, you know, that's one thing you can do is reach out to people that you trust and that you know have your back and love you, and just express your feelings. Like, I'm not stifling anything because it's changing constantly, and we're consistently being asked to face things and let them go. Things that we love and that we're excited about, and things that mean a lot to us, or at least we in some aspect thought that they meant a lot to us. And it's not that they don't, but they represent something else that can't be taken away. So but yeah, just crying and crying and crying and wanting to go home. I mean, I've been on the West Coast for about 15 years. So, obviously this is home for me, but all of my family, and my family, we're soul tribe. We've been together for many, many lifetimes. And so there's such a deep connection there, that that I have, and has been cultivated even more over the last couple of years as I've really embarked on my awakening in a very intentional way. So it's hard to be without them. It's hard not to be part of the solution with them. I feel, I think a lot of people are questioning and really frustrated with where they are going to find themselves, essentially quarantined for the next 3 months in some way, shape, or form. And I am no exception. And so I was really grieving that, grieving the fact that I'm not surrounded by my people, but also deeply trusting that everybody is exactly where they are meant to be, where they agreed to be, and that even if we can't see that big picture right now, which is, nobody can really know. And that's the whole Aries thing, right? It's just potential. Nothing has really germinated yet. So it could easily go any which way because it's all about the potential within the seed that's happening in Aries. And we just had the new moon in Aries. So, a lot of crying. My symptoms haven't necessarily increased into anything specific, but I can definitely feel I'm getting tired, much more tired. I can feel in my upper body, upper torso, like in my chest, into my throat. Like it's not an overt pain or discomfort, but I can feel it like starting to unfold. Tired behind my eyes, so tired. A little bit stuffy, but not too much. But it's that generalized feeling that could easily be pushed aside if you're not really connected to your body, of just like, you can tell when your internal landscape has shifted its focus. And my resources now are energetically definitely are going towards my immune system. I can definitely feel how that's happening. So I can tell that it's more than just being run down, although that is definitely a possibility. and likely happening just because when you're an empath, oh yeah, empath too, you know, most empaths are going to be starseeds and light workers and indigos anyway. It's not often that those things aren't connected to each other at this point. So as an empath, I've been like taking on the collective fear, the collective grief, the collective panic, even just in the household around me. And what I found is that when people are, so you can tell when they're not really connecting to their deep fear and their unrest, because they're kind of not expressing any emotion about it at all, other than going on with business as usual, except locked in the house for a little while. And so everybody's afraid, everybody's uncertain, everybody, even the most enlightened 5D light worker starseed person, is going to grapple with human emotions, because that is part of being a human, is having an emotional system, you know, and your endocrine system is really important in this, that in this whole process. But and that's why it's important to be grounded energetically, to meditate. If you have access to, if you're tuned to Reiki, for instance, you can give yourself Reiki. There are more calls for people doing collective distance work, which is really important. I'm actually going to put together a course really soon, like a refresher course for all the Reiki 2 people that want to join, to kind of brush up on the distance Reiki, because wow, it's powerful. I've had some really powerful sessions, and I'm sad that I can't do them right now, but it needs to be focused back on me, because the real work is definitely coming, my friends. It's absolutely coming. The wave is coming. The wave is definitely coming. I dreamt about it last night. I've been dreaming about it for a long time. And you know, Uranus, the planet, is the great awakener, and it's just so prominent in terms of where it's sitting in the astrology, and what it means archetypally. It's really showing us the way, and also completely terrifying, because there's no control with a lightning bolt. It's just a discharge of energy that's so strong. And then a tidal wave, obviously, is, you know, there's no stopping that. That's just a total surrender. But yeah, symptom wise, it's incremental and subtle, but not to me. I can feel in my body energetically, my throat chakra is activated, in my chest it's starting to hurt. I'm getting a little bit achiness in like my upper body, and just incredibly tired. I've also talked about, I've conversed with other people that have already gotten sick as well, and are dealing with their symptoms that continue to come back. That's the other thing that's going to be really difficult, is that they will linger, because they don't start out very strong, and you probably don't even realize you're sick, and then they come back with a vengeance. So, and what I've heard is that other people have had preliminary symptoms too, that have to do with their urinary tract, and their digestive system in general. I've been going to the bathroom a lot more than I usually do, and I'm not drinking that much more fluids than I already do. I'm already doing that. You know, this is just part of my life, with hot fluids, with lemon and lime in them. Like, I learned in Ayurveda a long time ago that cold fluids stifle your digestion, something fierce. So that's something that my spouse and I actually have really moved away from. Like, ice water is not something that I ever do, or it's very rare that I want ice water. Even when I was in India, we would be, you know, 85, 90 degrees and, you know, saturated humidity. They were still serving us warm rose water at the Ayurvedic, at the canteen for the Ayurvedic school. So, I mean, it's real. I mean, you definitely need to be drinking warm liquids and stuff. And so anyway, the whole point is that there are preliminary symptoms, and people have been very flippant about going into public. One woman at the store yesterday or the day before, we went out, and you know, I've been practicing a really vigilant social distancing, you know, to protect other people, and I'm glad I did, because I've been carrying the virus. And they said to us, they're like, well, I'm not sick, I'm just really hungover. we just slammed this bottle of vodka last night. And I just was like, I had nothing to say that wasn't going to cause a problem in that moment. But I was just like, this is where we're at, friends. This is the level of being asleep that people are, like completely running their immunity down with getting drunk and drinking, and then trying to encourage people to be near them as if they know if they're sick or not, like not educated about how this works. So, but we need to have compassion for them too. There's a lot of blaming going around, and it'd be really easy for me to blame people because I've been the most isolated and quarantined out of everybody around me, and I'm the one that's sick right now. So, but we can't do that. Not as starseeds and light workers. We can't. We have to keep it together and really practice what we've been preaching, because it's going to be really easy when the nodes shift into Gemini and Sagittarius. Again, the new moon video talks way more about this, but absolutely, it's going to get real. Anyway, there's not much more to report other than me just rambling at you about what goes on in my head, and that's not what this is supposed to be. I'm just supposed to be documenting my experience. But yes, I am getting more tired. My symptoms are starting to increase. I am not incapable of taking care of myself, or I'm not even coughing, or I'm sneezing a little bit, but I'm not coughing. I don't have nausea. I don't have a fever. But like I said, I'm very in tune energetically to my body because it's my work and my life. And so I know when things are starting to activate. And I am preparing myself in many ways to embody the fullness of this virus so that I can heal expediently and come out the other side ready for the big wave. And so I'm grateful actually to be getting my symptoms now. And I really would love some distance work from people. If you are so inclined and you want to give and you don't know how, well, if you're Reiki too, you can do distance Reiki, and I will receive as much as you want to give. And yeah, I'm going to take another hot bath, guys. Oh, tea tree oil, put it in the diffuser, huff it, put it in some oil, like on a base oil, and put it on your chest, like it's in your neck, like it's a Vicks vapor rub. That stuff is antiviral. It's really going to help. I'm huffing it on a regular basis. So, and maybe other people have other suggestions for herbs, and in a safe way, not just flippantly like, oh, these are good, because plant medicine is incredibly powerful and we don't respect it enough. And it's been co-opted. Herbal medicine and natural medicine has been co-opted for, this is my opinion. Okay, my opinion is that herbal medicine, natural medicine has been co-opted in order to make money because of how valuable it really is. And that leads to inferior products, that leads to making it accessible without a professional to help manage and mediate that experience. And it can end up being dangerous, like telling people to ingest tea tree oil. I mean, it would have to be an extreme case, and even then you don't need to do that. You can just make it accessible by inhaling it, putting it in the diffuser, rubbing it in a base oil on your body, because you don't want to risk damaging more cells that are healthy. Okay, guys, this is episode 2 of Starseed's Viral Journey. If you need to get a hold of me, or you want to know when I post other content that is related to this Great Awakening and astrology specifically, you can, all the information will be in the description box below of how to do that. And take care of yourselves, guys. I'll talk to you on the next episode.